Terrance Dion Williams was born on January the 17th, 1976 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, to parents Marcia Williams and a father who left when he was 3 years old. In 1995, Williams pleaded guilty in a robbery and was sentenced to 11 months in prison, part of which was probation. He also spent 50 days in jail after a DUI charge and driving on a revoked license. Williams would later move to Florida to be closer to his mother. They would speak on the phone daily and spent Sundays driving to the mall, browsing stores and eating dinner together. He shared an apartment with a roommate at Randall Circle in East Naples. A few weeks before his disappearance, Williams started work as a cook at Pizza Hut restaurant in Bonita Springs, Florida. He had previously worked construction jobs in Tennessee. Around midnight on January the 11th, 2004, Williams attended a party at a home in Bonita Springs with some of his Pizza Hut co-workers. The group drank beer and partied all night until Williams left at around 6 a.m. Williams, who then did not have a valid driver's license after being cited for driving under the influence and the registration on his car had expired, decided to drive to the party illegally after being unable to find another ride. Jason Gonzalez, Williams' roommate, became concerned when Williams did not return home and emailed Marcia on January the 13th about his concerns. The Williams family called police and filed a missing persons report. Shortly afterwards, Williams' aunt was able to track down his Cadillac, which had been towed from Naples Memorial Cemetery after obstructing traffic. The tow report was signed by Deputy Steve Corkins of the Collier County Sheriff's Department. The family contacted the Sheriff's Department and discovered that Corkins had filed neither an incident report nor an arrest. Marcia contacted workers at the cemetery who told her that they witnessed Corkins pull Williams over and ask him for identification, which he did not have. Employees stated that Corkins patted Williams down and put him in the back of his patrol car before driving off with Williams. Corkins then asked the cemetery employees if he could leave the Cadillac in the lot. Corkins was witnessed returning to the cemetery between 15 minutes and an hour later and moving the Cadillac from a parking spot to the side of the road. The car keys were found on the ground beside the car. Following this witness statement, the Williams family repeatedly called the Sheriff's Department asking to speak to Corkins. Upon being contacted by dispatch, Corkins claimed to have no memory of making any arrests or having any cars towed on the day of Williams' disappearance. He was contacted later and claimed to have a better recollection of his contact with Williams. A few days later, Corkins' supervisors asked him to submit an incident report. Corkins' report states that he first came into contact with Williams at 12:15 p.m. after noticing that his car was driving in distress. Corkins claimed he followed Williams to the cemetery parking lot and that he asked for a ride to a nearby Circle K convenience store because he was late for work. However, Williams did not work at the Circle K. According to Corkins, after dropping him off at the Circle K, Williams told him the paperwork for the car was in the vehicle's glove compartment. Corkins claimed that he then returned to the Cadillac and discovered that the proper registration was not in the car and that he felt deceived, so he called the Circle K from his work-issued cell phone and asked to speak to Williams. The clerk allegedly told him over the phone that Williams did not work there. According to the report, Corkins then called in the license plate number and found that the plates were expired. However, further investigation revealed that phone and surveillance records did not back up Corkins' story. There was no sign of Williams or Corkins on surveillance footage from the Circle K, and the phone records from Corkins' cell phone showed no call to the Circle K. Circle K employees were also interviewed, and no witnesses could be found to place Corkins or Williams there at this point. Felipe Santos, 24, was a Mexican national living illegally in the US in Florida. He had been living in the US for 3 years at the time of his disappearance and sending money back to his family in Mexico. Santos was last seen October the 1st, 2003 at approximately 6:30 am. He was driving to work with his 2 brothers when he was involved in a minor car accident in Naples. Corkins cited Santos for reckless driving and driving without a license or insurance and placed him in the back of his patrol car. Santos was last seen riding away with Corkins. Later that day, Santos's boss contacted the county jail to post bail, and it was discovered that Santos was never booked. Corkins claimed that he changed his mind about the arrest because Santos was polite and cooperative and left him at a local Circle K and drove off. The other driver in the accident contradicted that report, stating that Corkins was agitated about Santos's lack of documentation. He just stated that he was tired of pulling people over that didn't have licenses, she said. 2 weeks later, after Corkins submitted his incident report, Santos's family filed a missing persons report as well as a complaint against Corkins. An investigation cleared Corkins of any wrongdoing. Santos has not been seen or heard of since. His wife has questioned the quality of the investigation into the disappearance, citing the fact that she was never even interviewed by investigators. Further suspicion was cast on Corkins when a recording of his call to dispatch requesting the tow of Williams' car revealed further conflicting statements. In this recording, Corkins described the car as abandoned and blocking the road. This statement contradicted both his incident report and the witness statements, both of which reported that Corkins himself moved the vehicle to its location, blocking the road. Corkins joked with the operator, "Maybe he's out there in the cemetery, he'll come back and his car will be gone." He was also heard using inappropriate language during the call, describing the car as a homey Cadillac. Corkins defended his misstatements to the operator, telling investigators that he was just joking around with a friend. Corkins insisted he moved the car to assist the towing company as opposed to attempting to make it look abandoned. Approximately 20 minutes later, Corkins requested a background check on Terrance Williams, giving an inaccurate birth date, a specific date that Williams had previously given the police when he was arrested. This contradicts Corkins' earlier statement that he never knew Williams' last name or any other personal details. Because the main person of interest in this case was a police officer, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the FBI were called in to work on the case. Various investigative techniques were used, including the covert placement of a GPS device on Corkins' vehicle and a forensic investigation of the patrol car. Cadaver dogs were used to survey the areas identified by the GPS, but these turned up no further evidence. Corkins was later fired from the department for providing conflicting information about both missing persons cases and for not cooperating with the investigation. The case went without any new leads for a number of years until 2012, when a number of national programmes began covering the case, including Anderson Cooper 360 and Dateline NBC. Entertainment mogul Tyler Perry went on Al Sharpton's MSNBC talk show to discuss the disappearances, offering a $2,000 reward for information in connection with the cases.